Hello and welcome to another Pauper video. I'm Kalikaiz. Today I am recapping my Altar Tron event in Pauper. So this video is going to cover what happened at the Upstate New York Inaugural Pauper Open on March 1st. That was 10 days ago. I took this deck, Altar Tron, which you've probably been seeing a lot of on my channel, but Pactdoll Terror had just come out and this card is so sweet that I really wanted to maximize it. So what I did was I took the list where you go infinite playing Foundry Inspector. You sacrifice your Mirror Retrievers. With the Foundry Inspector, you make infinite mana. You draw your deck with all your Deadly Disputes and Eviscerators Insights, and then you just use your Energy Refractor to filter, and then potentially draw your deck with the Blood Fountain. I also changed this list just before the event to play Snuff Out, which I figured would help a little bit versus Glee, and can be good versus other decks as well. Otherwise, it's pretty much become my stock list, and I did call it my final copy of Altar Tron Doll. I think post this, I've made some adjustments, and I can go over that at the end of the video. So if you're interested in seeing the updated list, definitely check that out. If you do want sideboard guides, that's on patreon.com/Kalikaiz. So a reminder, this was the inaugural Upstate New York Pauper Open. It was a cash payout event in Rochester, New York. These things are going to be happening hopefully 3 times a year. The next one looks to be sometime in July, probably. I'm still waiting on the tournament organizer to finalize the date. And we ended up having 76 players register. 72 players came on the day of, which put it at a 7-round event. So with draws, you needed to make 5-1-1 or better in order to get to the top 8. So it was also at the K2 Brothers Brewing in Freewill, just outside of Rochester, New York, which is a really sweet brewery. They had, this shows there's a ton of space there in the brewery area. There's a ton of like taps and stuff. There was a stage, really kind of getting a feel for the environment. The actual event took place in a couple of classrooms, old classrooms, because this is a very old elementary school, which is pretty silly, but they had tons and tons of beer and food, and the food was just absurd, like huge plates of everything. So I'm excited to go ahead and check out what happened, and let's go ahead and get into the matches. Thanks for watching. Did you know you could get sideboard guides on patreon.com/Kalikaiz? And did I mention you can get early access to videos on the YouTube page in the membership section? And if you like these videos, make sure to like and subscribe. All right, so match 1, we're up against Salem, who I know is playing Grixis Affinity. And I've moved my camera a little bit down to the side so we can get a better handle on it. We get the 7-card hand to open. Our opponent keeps 7. Looks like we're keeping 7 as well. I'm not sure. All right, lead on Urza's land, play a Candy Trail. It appears to be a tower. Bear with me as I'm trying to comment on this paper match here. Checking out the scry. We're going to go top and pass the turn. Our opponent draws for turn. They lead on a tap land, red-black land, and pass the turn. I'm seeing a lot of Tron lands in my hand. We'll play an Expedition map and another Candy Trail. We'll scry, and it goes top and pass. I'm just going to increase the speed a small amount to 1.5 and see if that's a little bit easier to follow along. It's a little slow here. Okay, that's a little too fast. We'll see how it goes. Our opponent plays a land, plays a Refurbished Familiar. We discard a Crop Rotation, untap, crack the Expedition map. That is too fast. Let's go back to 1.25. Okay. So we find the missing Tron land. Now in Pauper with the Tron mana, I like to just organize where the 2 mana lands are lined up and then the towers are lined up. We get a good shuffle in, send it over to the opponent. They get a cut. We've got 2 mana open, and we will play Expedition or Energy Refractor and draw a card. Opponent draws, plays a Vault of Whispers. We've got another Refurbished Familiar. We're going to have to discarding a Tron land. And they have a Wellspring, which draws them a card. They'll attack for 2, putting me to, I believe, 18. Can't really see the life totals here, so we're just going to have to follow along. We draw for turn. I'll play Foundry Inspector. Now everything is cost reduced. Here we go. We're going to start tracking triggers and life totals and mana. Play a Mirror Retriever for 1 mana, floating a colorless. We'll sacrifice, still 1 colorless floating, going up to 20 or 21. Anything else? Passing the turn. So fully tapped out. Did not make a land drop. Our opponent attacks for 4, putting me to 17. Passes the turn. After playing a tap land, we'll get in for 4, putting them to 16. Play a 0 mana Chromatic Star, crack it, draw a card. Colorless and black are floating. So what I'm looking for here is trying to find, so we Deadly Dispute the Mirror Retriever, and we can get back Candy Trail or the Chromatic Star. It's going to draw 3 cards and make a treasure token. We are returning the Candy Trail, and then make a sweet treasure. That's a full art treasure that I've got. I got from the people from Cody, from Badger. Draw some cards. Play a Candy Trail for 0 mana. Get that scry. Looking for Mirror Retriever and Altar. I top. I've got 5 mana available. Tap for 2. We play a 1 mana Wellspring and draw a card. So, storming off a bit, but I have no Weather Storms in the main deck. Play a Swamp, tap in for black. That means we're probably going to Deadly Dispute or Viscer's Insight again. Let's see. What's going on here? 4 mana. Okay. Draw a card, gain 3 life. Back to 20, looks like. Deadly Dispute the Wellspring. So drawing 3 cards, and then making another treasure. So 2 counters on the treasures to indicate 2 treasures. Let's see, anything else? Opponent's just waiting for my turn to end. Play a 0 mana Chromatic Star. Apparently I had mana floating, so we sacrifice the star. It's definitely hard to keep track of all these things without a lot going on. So I think that in the future it would be better for these recording to have a life counter as well as the mana counted. But playing a Pactdoll Terror, that I believe uses all the mana and drains the opponent for 1. So here comes the triggers. 21 to 15. Opponent untaps. They have 4 mana right now. Podcast will draw them 2 cards. They're just digging for more threats, pretty much, or removal spells for the Pactdoll. They Deadly Dispute their Wellspring to draw 3 cards and make a treasure token. 1, 2, 3. Plays a Vault of Whispers. Nile Spellbomb. So that is going to be something we have to work through here. I don't have any way to actually manage the Spellbomb in the main deck of this deck. And they're going to just attack in, looks like, for 4. Or okay, they're not going to attack. They're afraid of getting beaten down by the terror and getting some value. Playing another Tron land. Blood Fountain. So that is one way to force through a Nile Spellbomb. It also gives me 2 triggers since it creates a blood token. Another really sweet token from Miso Tokens. 2 mana. We play the Ashnod's Altar out. Okay, so here if I have a Mirror Retriever, I can easily force through the Nile Spellbomb. 2 mana. There's a Mirror Retriever. Seems like they have no removal. They still have red floating. They're going to crack the Spellbomb in response to the Retriever on the stack. And that makes it so I can't try and brute force a loop here. So we're going to play Wellspring to draw a card. One option would be to crack the Candy Trail and then alter the Retriever for the Candy Trail to play it again. I'm going to Deadly Dispute the Wellspring. There's a lot of cards floating around on that side of the table. Put a treasure down. And then some change in life totals. Drawing 3 cards. Sacrifice the Retriever to return the Wellspring. So this Wellspring now just costs 1 mana. Still have a lot of mana going on. Second Retriever, and that is the game. Our opponent scoops it up. So for the sideboard plan here, I'm likely going to cut the 2 crop rotations, or maybe just 1 crop rotation, bringing in the Ancient Grudge specifically. So game 2 here, we're up a game. Everyone's going to check out their hands and see if they want to mulligan. Our opponent is on the play. They throw it back, and we throw it back as well. Okay, all the shuffling is over. We're checking our hands again. Opponent has 7, we have 7. So are we keeping 6? Let's see. Our opponent's going to throw it back again. They're looking for something specific. Looks like we're mulling it over, trying to determine what to do. Just keeping 6. Okay, we've got 6 cards. Our opponent has shuffled. They get their 7 cards out. Let's see what they do. They appear to be keeping 5, putting back 2 cards. It seems to be everybody's doing a great job at really indicating what's going on all their lands and spells in hand. Our opponent has led with a tap land. We go tap land Candy Trail. One of my favorite starts in this deck, to be honest. Scry 1 top, 1 bottom. Pass it over. They've got red-black available. They play it a land. Go Nile Spellbomb. So they have 3 Affinity right now. We draw. Play another Candy Trail. After playing another Tron land, looks to be a power plant. We're currently resolving the scry. It seems to be a hard decision. Looks to be 1 top, 1 bottom. Still no real way to get to Tron. So if we found a tower on top, we could potentially... I mean, if we found a tower on top, we just draw it, right? Our opponent plays a refurb. A little difficult to see the cards. We'll discard a Eviscerator's Insight. So, and then they've got a second Nile Spellbomb. No threats yet. Well, I guess they have the refurb. Sorry about that. We're going to draw a card with this Refractor. Play a Swamp and pass. Eviscerator's Insight's a pretty nice card. They get in for 2, putting me to 18. Draw. Play Expedition Map, crack the Expedition Map. Now we have Tron online. There's the tower. Okay, we've shuffled and cut. And play another Refractor and draw a card. 1 mana floating, play an Expedition Map. Lots of mana in play. 2 damage coming in again, going to 16. Cracking the map on upkeep. This allows me to not draw one of the lands that are in the deck. Kind of thin a little bit. Also get the tower out. But we are going to have to shuffle again. I do like to do this upkeep, just in case. Now, if you didn't want to mess with your scries off the Candy Trail, you might not want to do that. Our opponent gets the cut. And we draw for turn. Okay. Play the tower that was known. We have 9 mana. Going to play 7 mana to Eviscerator's Insight, sacrificing a Energy Refractor. Trying to use that before our opponent can Nile Spellbomb it. We sacrifice a Candy Trail, putting me back to around 19. Our opponent was wondering how I used the mana for that, but we indicate that it was I paid 7, and then I used 5 of it to sacrifice, and then I paid another 2. Okay, we draw. They attack, they pass it back right away. All right, we have 4 mana. Pactdoll Terror, that drains them. Play an Energy Refractor. They kill the Pactdoll Terror in response. We are going to Deadly Dispute, sacrificing the Wellspring, drawing 3 cards. That gives me another trigger because I'm going to make another treasure, paying them again. Thinking about this, we currently have 4 mana open, 5 with the treasure, and then we eviscerate Eviscerator Insight on the Pactdoll, floating 1 mana, drawing 2 cards. So I currently have 3 colorless floating, or open. Now it's just all floating. So what are they going to do? What are we going to do? Like, more draw spells would be good. I don't know. Trying to get into more Candy Trails. Okay, so play a Blood Fountain. One mana is floating right now. That's double ping, putting them to 16. Then we'll discard a land and draw a card. That's all the mana I had. I guess I had some extra mana floating. We'll play an Expedition Map. Opponent gets in for 2 again. Now the life totals are somewhat lost on me, to be honest. Okay, we draw for turn. Play another Tron land. So much mana from the Tron lands. It's pretty sweet. Our opponent has not really found any threats. They're just trying to lean on those 2 Nile Spellbombs. They did mulligan quite a bit. We're paying 2 mana for... I guess we're floating a mana. Something's happening here. We're going to Eviscerator's Insight, sacrificing, and draw 3 cards. Got 5 mana. Pactdoll Terror coming down again. Our opponent getting drained. So if they have no removal, I can just kind of outvalue them with the Terror in play. I don't see any Galvanic Blast from their side, but it looks like they're getting ready to do something in response as soon as I start taking my action and they get priority back. Bowling it over, trying to consider what to do. Okay, they have a cast down. And we will Deadly Dispute, sacrificing the map. Okay, just to get another trigger. Still have one colorless floating. We're using the treasure. So are we going to deadly dispute the Pactdoll as well? Visitors inside the Pactdoll. Okay, drawing more cards. So this has been a very strange mid-range war. Our opponent's now going to Nile Spellbomb, getting rid of 2 Pactdolls from the deck. We have a total of 4, so 2 are left. Cannot win without having one of those to loop with. I mean, I could attack with my Foundry Inspectors, but it would be a slow go. Like, get in for 2. We're untapping. Trying to organize those lands over there. Going to increase the speed a little bit, so hopefully that'll be fine. We have an Ancient Grudge for the Nile Spellbomb. They respond by drawing a card off the Spellbomb. The Ancient Grudge goes to the graveyard. So now I'm in the clear, and let's see if we have the combo in hand. Pay 4 mana for a Pactdoll that will drain my opponent. Play a Foundry Inspector. Our opponent is going to Deadly Dispute. I rearranged my... Somebody rearranged that. That's weird. Okay, they Deadly Dispute, draw some cards. Reckoner's Bargain. They're looking for a way to manage this. Seems like they're just digging, trying to find a removal spell. They don't have it. They look like they have... Okay, they do have a Galvanic Blast for the Pactdoll, so it's dead. I have a decent amount of mana available. There's a Retriever. Altar. Okay, so we sacrifice the Retriever. We return the Pactdoll Terror. So another Retriever would be infinite mana and close the game. Play the Pactdoll Terror out. They get drained. Play a Candy Trail for 0 mana. We bottom. Play a Chromatic Star for 0 mana. So just the storm feel of having the cost reducers just are so fun. We sacrifice, making black, I suppose. Can we find the Mirror Retriever though? Deadly Dispute on an Energy Refractor to draw 2 cards, making a treasure. So still having enough mana available to cast the Mirror Retriever if we find it. Play Wellspring to draw a card. Guess I had mana floating. And Tower, okay. 3 mana. Cracking a Candy Trail. We're digging hard trying to find that Mirror Retriever. Wellspring. Should be all the mana except the treasure right now. I'm not sure. Let's see. Sacrificing the treasure. Draw another card with the Wellspring. Lots of drains going on. Our opponent appears to be at 8. And we have to pass the turn back. Dang. Did not get there. Opponent plays a land. They've got a Wellspring to draw a card. Checking their graveyard, looking for something to do. Playing a Blood Fountain. Okay. They rummage with the Blood token. Discarding a land. And then they Reckoner's Bargain. Think they're tapped out here. Going to 10. Draw 3. They pass it back. So we've got a decent amount of mana in play. A bunch of permanents. Feels like a lot to have to manage here over in paper. Man. So first draw a card off the Candy Trail. Play another Foundry Inspector. So now my 2-drops are 0 mana. We Ancient Grudge on the Blood Fountain and get in for 6. Very nice. So we could have all like Blood Fountain back. I sacrificed the... Okay, we sacrificed the Pactdoll, and then we Blood Fountain back Pactdoll and Mirror Retriever. Then we play the Mirror Retriever for 0. Yeah, so we got them back. And our opponent has scooped. Okay, so they show us a Cast into the Fire that they were working up towards, but they did not get it. So essentially, we could have been able to use like the slow loop with the Pactdoll Terrors. Ended up just outvaluing them there. Let's see what happens in the next game. Okay, match 2. Looks like we're on the play. I play a land. Opponent has land, Voldaren Epicure. Makes a blood token. We draw for turn. I play an Energy Refractor and draw a card. Our opponent draws. Synthesizer, finding a Clockwork. They get in for 1. We draw for turn. Play a Tron land. Play an Expedition map and sacrifice for... We crop rotation. Okay. And pass the turn back. Our opponent untaps. So next turn we'll have Tron online. They play a Tomb Raider, so they'll be swinging in for 3. I really need to get some life gain going. We go to 15. So I kind of have all the mana in the world, but I need to stall. Draw for turn. We grab the tower. Now, I think this match shows that the Tron deck really does need to have Weather the Storm in the main, and I did not play that in this game. We're just gonna play a Wellspring and draw. And then looks like pass the turn. Play an Expedition map and a Mirror Retriever. So Mirror Retriever can block one of their creatures to take it off the table. The idea is I'm just trying to stem the tide. Opponent is considering their plays. If a Reckless Lackey, getting in for 4, I block the Vorlaner Epicure and take 3 going to 12. So I have a pretty good shot at finding some life gain here. Play a tower. We deadly Viscer's Insight the Wellspring, drawing 3 cards. Deadly Dispute the Expedition map, drawing 2 cards, making a treasure token. Currently at 12. Play another map. Deadly Dispute the map. Just digging for something. Does not appear to be finding it though. Plays a star. Deadly Dispute the star, draw 3 cards. So many cards in hand. Any candy trails in there? Play a Mirror Retriever, go to 1 treasure. They have 1 mana open. So we're going to pass the turn back. The Galvanic Face. That puts me to 8. So all they need is double Galvanic or Bolt Galvanic. They play End the Festivities. So that clears the board. We'll go to 7. They attack in for 3 and they have the Galvanic in hand. Easy peasy. So Burn getting it done. We're siding 2 Weather the Storms and 3 Krark-Clan Shamans, cutting 2 Ashnod's Altars and 3 Foundry Inspectors. Really maybe should think about trimming one of the Pactdoll Terrors here, but I think that was the plan at the time. Okay, we're drawing the hands. Looks like I'm taking a mulligan. Our opponent is an easy keeping of 7 cards. Mono red also, it mulligans well because it doesn't usually have to mulligan. They have very redundant cards in their deck. But the Tron deck definitely needs to mulligan pretty hard. I think, yeah, let's see how this goes. Fast Tron is good, but without Weatherstorm or a Sweeper, it might not be enough. We put a card underneath, lead on a land and a candy trail. So a little bit of life gain is good. Bottom 2, passing the game over. Our opponent leads on a 1-drop, getting in for 1. That's the the Percussionist. We play an Energy Refractor and draw a card. 2 mana. Another Percussionist. A Lackey, they get in for 3, we're at 16. We untap. Play Tower. Green Crop Rotation. So Tron will be online here. We're grabbing the Mine. Seems to be an okay spot. So we have 5 mana. We can undo this attack going back to 19 by just sacrificing the Candy Trail. Back to Candy Trail, go to 19. Draw a card. Pass the turn, okay. Our opponent untaps. This is where it gets real. They're doing a lot of counting. They Kuldotha Rebirth a Percussionist, getting 3 tokens. And look at that flip. They flip a land and slam a Bushwhacker. So, I mean, I don't know if they had a land in their hand, but that was ridiculous. So now they're attacking for 12, putting me to 7. I was feeling okay, and now I have to Deadly Dispute the Refractor end step to try to draw cards and find some life gain. We untap. Play a Pactdoll Terror, going to 8. Land. Play a Chromatic Star, go to 9. Sacrifice it. Play another Pactdoll Terror that puts me to 10. Draw a card. Passing it back. Opponent has 6 creatures. They're thinking it through again. I'm currently at 11 or 10. I think I had myself at 11 here. And then they slam another Bushwhacker. Like, how do you beat that? Come on. You don't. So they have 12, 14, 16 power, and we can block 4 of it, and they also have Galvanic. Easy game for the red player. We'll see you in round 3. All right, we're here in round 3 of the Pauper event. Looks like we'll find out who's on the play. We're going to increase the speed to 1.5 and see what happens here. Both players are looking at their first opening 7. And it looks like I'm on the play, leading with a Candy Trail, Scry 2, and we're bottoming Likely looking just to set up the Tron lands. Our opponent goes island into Fairy Seer, scry 2 as well. Everybody's getting their scries. And they top. We take the draw, play another land, and a Wellspring to draw a card. That's going to be the turn. Opponent draws for turn. We can see a Spell Setter in hand. They get in for 1. And no blocks, of course. Post combat plays an island. Is that it? Okay, we untap. Clearly representing a Spell Setter on 2 here. We'll start out with a Chromatic Star. See if they want to bite. They don't do anything. We play a land and pass. This is a good way of holding up. So they're getting in with their Spell Setter, or their Fairy Seer. Right here, by playing out the Chromatic Star, we can pass the turn, and then on their end step, Deadly Dispute here, drawing 2 cards at a minimum if I have Deadly Dispute in hand. And it's also a way of potentially just baiting the Spell Setter if I wanted to also play like a map from hand. Looks like we have 2 power plants and a mine. Our opponent is going to preordain post-combat. Looking for red lands, apparently. Or they have a mountain in hand, I think. They play a mountain and pass the turn. Got those foil cards, which is pretty sweet. End step, we crack. Is this going to be a Deadly Dispute? Eviscer's Insight, sacrificing. Our opponent flashes in a Spell Setter. So that was a 2 cards drawn, and now I'm in the clear to play a map potentially. I play the map, draw, or let me see, crack the map for the tower. We'll have 3 mana left over, so the best play would probably be to have a Refractor in hand in order to just get the colors online. Otherwise, you're in a lot of a risk. You're putting a lot of risk as you might have to play into more counter spells, and then your colors are not very good. So let's see if there's an Energy Refractor. Power in play. Wellspring to draw a card. Any more plays? Chromatic Star. Okay, so there are some colors. We can flashback the Eviscer's Insight potentially. Still taking some chip damage from the fairies. Our opponent's considering. They play a mountain and get in for 2. Going to Ninja the Deep Hours on the Fairy Seer, leaving open red-blue, draw a card. So they have 3 power in play now. They play an Augur of Bolas, you can't really see it here, and find a Lightning Bolt. Passing the turn. So we're fully in the clear. Our opponent's tapped out. I've got 9 mana in play. We'll start by Candy Trail and Scry. Bottom both. Crack. Deadly Dispute the Wellspring. That's 3 cards. Nice Ancestral Recall there. Making a treasure. 6 mana in play. Still have not made a land drop. There's a tower. So back to 9 mana. 10 mana with the treasure. We'll spend 3. Play Mirror Retriever. And use the treasure to Deadly Dispute the Mirror Retriever. Returning a Wellspring. Remaking a treasure, so we're just going to leave that in play. 6 mana available. Play a Wellspring, draw a card. Got 5 mana now, so we really need to get in front of the Ninja the Deep Hours. Playing the Pactdoll as a blocker might be an okay strategy. Sacrificing the treasure here. Eviscer's Insight on the Wellspring. Another 3 cards drawn. This time floating a colorless. Play a Candy Trail. Bottoming both. So kind of just stalling. Oh, Energy Refractor here is really good because now the colors are online. Don't have to make any swamp land drops. I actually am not under too much threat from the ninjas and such because I can draw 3 cards and gain 9 life with the 3 Candy Trails that are currently in play. And I've got 12 mana on the table. Our opponent attacks for 4. They get to draw a card off the Ninja the Deep Hours. They have the known spells that are spread in hand. Any land drops. Usually what we're looking at is, are they going to be holding open Counterspell? Are they going to be playing a Monarch here to get extra value? They play an Island. We know that we've seen a couple of Lightning Bolts. There was one revealed from the Augur of Bolas, and then we saw one in hand previously. So the plan may be to try to burn us out, but the Candy Trails can make that hard. We'll pay 5 mana and filters for black, playing Pactdoll Terror. That drains the opponent. They have no response, no counterspell or anything, so we think we're in the clear. Play a second Pactdoll Terror. Our opponent counterspells that one. Okay, so they just declined to counter previously, seeing it as not very big of a threat. We currently have 4 mana. We're going to draw a card and gain 3 life. Still don't really want to play into another spell setter. So that's one of the main concerns that I have when I'm playing against the Fairies deck is how do I avoid just giving them value on their spell setters? We do have a blocker for the ninja, which is nice. Passing the turn. Our opponent draws for turn. We're going to plan on blocking the ninja. They play Preordain. They go top, bottom, and draw a card. That is a really nice Preordain. I like that art for sure. They're going to get in. Let's see if we block. I know they have Lightning Bolt in hand, so they're saying, do you want to lose your Pactdoll Terror? And we just take it. The opponent draws more cards. Plays a Volatile Fjord. And they pass the turn back. End step, we draw a card, gain 3 life. They're not really worried about being burnt out. Draw for turn. We'll go Hidden Grotto. This is the same as the Conduit Pylons. We'll respond to the Scry trigger and float a green, play Crop Rotation, sacrificing the Hidden Grotto. Our opponent flashes in a Spellstutter Sprite. That's okay. So now we resolve the Surveil trigger. Keep it on top. I didn't really need that land drop. It was just +1 mana. Let's see what we're going to do. Play a Mirror Retriever. They have no response. We drain them. So if they have no response and we have the altar, that will be the game. We're going to draw and gain 3 life. Let's see if the altar is going to come into play. Play a Chromatic Star. Still just trying to see if they will bite on a Spellstutter that may or may not be in hand. There's a lot of draining going on as well. Cracking it. Probably for black again. Deadly Dispute the Mirror Retriever. No response. We return the other Mirror Retriever from the graveyard. There it is. Goes to hand. And treasure, draw 2. So I would certainly have expected them to counter that if they had a Spellstutter, which means I'm pretty much expecting them to not have a Spellstutter. We crack the treasure, play a Blood Fountain. That drains for 2 as well as it creates a blood token. Where's my Miso token, blood token over there, huh? Just kind of forgot. Our opponent was reminded that they need to keep track of life totals. We'll play the Mirror Retriever. Drain them. Any altar? Or are we just value towning? We'll discard using the blood token. Discarding a land to draw. And play another Mirror Retriever. More draining. So we've definitely reached a scenario where we're stalling. I can double block with the Mirror Retrievers to kill the Ninja the Deep Hours if I want, and I'm very far from being burned. They have 2 Spellstutters in play. When it draws return, they're thinking over what to do here. Getting in for 2 in the air. Not really a problem with the amount of life draining that's happened from the Pactdoll Terror. Looks like I see a Monarch in their hand, and they're going to slam it. That's the Crimson Fleet Commodore, which is a 5/2 pirate. Gives them the Monarch, and they will draw an extra card on their end step. They draw, and my turn. So Ashnod's Altar, we would get it countered probably. We'll make 5, or okay, we're getting back Mirror Retriever, getting back Pactdoll Terror with the Blood Fountain. Make 5 mana, play another Pactdoll Terror. Resolves. Oh, maybe not. So they're thinking it through, checking out the graveyard, see what kind of spells I have over there. So it does resolve. That means that each artifact entering the battlefield is going to drain them for 2. Really clocking them pretty quickly here. Another Mirror Retriever. Resolves. Well, Refractor. Okay. And now they kind of have to respect me just attacking. Do we resolve a Wellspring? That resolves as well. Looks like I probably have a mana floating. We're passing the turn. Our opponent draws. Let's see. There we go. Playing an island. Hacking in for 2 in the air. Yes. Okay. We're getting in for 2. They play a Fairy Seer to set up their draw. Now the Fairy Seer, they bottom. Don't know what they're looking for. I feel like I see a counterspell in their hand. Fairy Seer again. Top, bottom. They're going to draw one of those cards on end step for the Monarch. Drawing it from the Monarch. Passing the turn. So I'm really just looking for a moment to be able to resolve an Ashnod's Altar. Playing another land, 5-drop, or pay 5 mana and filter, play another Pactdoll, and they scoop to the 3rd Pactdoll in play. I don't know if that was the too much drain or it was just too much value, but we got the job done. So we'll go to post board. So for this specific deck, I like to bring in Scatter Shots. I think they're very good at clearing the board versus fairies. Also, potentially cutting the crop rotations. Might just go 2 crop rotations for 2 Scatter Shot. All right, we're getting to the post board. Players are checking their hands. Looks like our opponent is keeping, and we're going to be shipping it back. Let's see if we can keep a 6 here. We'll put 1 card back and keep a 6. Okay. Our opponent, Island Relic. Right away. What's nice about this deck is with all of the Pactdolls, we don't really care too much about a Relic. We're going to start off with the Candy Trail and scry top bottom. Our opponent draws for turn. Island again, passing the turn back. So we want to not get spell stuttered. Playing out a Wellspring to see if they have Counterspell. They don't. We draw a card. Flashing in, or no, they're cycling Lorien Revealed and cycling Lorien Revealed. They're picking out Island and a Fjord. I think overall, the Altar Tron deck is very strong at fighting through a couple of pieces of graveyard hate. Some things that you can do to try to work through it even more are potentially playing more Blood Fountains or playing more kind of mid-rangey things like Golem Foundry. Our opponent plays a Volatile Fjord and passes the turn. I'll play out another Tron piece, play an Chromatic Star. They're immediately Spell Stutter. And I have a Snuff Out for the Spell Stutter. We brought in the Snuff Outs and the... wow, that's awesome. That was a big surprise to the opponent. We draw 3 cards off an Eviscerator's Insight. That's a huge blowout. Our opponent looking for the 2-for-1. We ended up just getting everything going. Nice bait there for sure. Wow. I totally forgot that I would be doing that. Okay, they've got 4 mana available. They relicked away a Snuff Out. The only thing that we care about from the relic is potentially... We're going to Deadly Dispute the Chromatic Star. That goes to the graveyard. And we draw 3 cards. Make a treasure token. We're looking for Tower. We have Power Plant and Mine and Swamp in play. We use 2 mana to play another Wellspring. Resolves. Draw a card. Playing a Swamp. Pass the turn. A Relic. We will get rid of the Deadly Dispute. Our opponent plays Volatile Fjord and passes. Now, of note, our game 1 took a very, very long time, and there's not that much time on the clock right now. Let's try an Energy Refractor. Draw a card. Okay. We Deadly Dispute the Wellspring. That's good. We draw 3 cards and make a treasure token again. Still looking for a tower. Treasure token in play. There's the tower. So now we have 3 mana. 4 mana with the treasure. Checking the hand size. We'll play a Chromatic Star. Now our opponent has the Fear of God. They're afraid of another Snuff Out. We play the Chromatic Star and a Mirror Retriever. I guess it's time to start attacking in. Oh, there was a short judge call. Our opponent accidentally saw 2 cards. So the judge just comes over and says, okay, shuffle, put that card back and shuffle the library. Randomize it, no big deal. They hadn't done any scrying whatsoever. Okay. Play another island and pass. Time for me to attack in, I guess. Send 1. Really sending a message. We still have the Eviscerator's Insight in the graveyard. We can draw 3 cards off of that if we Eviscerator's Insight off of the Chromatic Star. Playing a Wellspring here and drawing a card. Looking to make more land drops. They relic away a Chromatic Star. Opponent plays a Augur Volus, an Augur Volus. Looks at the top 3. Revealing a Lightning Bolt. And I will flash back the Eviscerator. Draw. That resolves. We draw 3 cards. Draw for turn. Playing another Mine. 4 mana. Attempt to Pactdoll Terror. Our opponent immediately snap counterspells it. It's to the graveyard. It looks like we might have another one. Pactdoll Terror again. Counterspell immediately. Okay, so our opponent's tapped out. Is there anything we can do to capitalize on that? They can't relic right now. But if I wanted to get the Pactdoll Terrors back, I would have to go Blood Fountain. We're going to Deadly Dispute the Mirror Retriever and return a Pactdoll Terror. Draw 2 cards. Play the Pactdoll Terror again. Now it's on the battlefield. Any other follow-up? Candy Trail. The draining is happening. Okay, they had a short question about how I cast it. Resolving the scry. And we will go bottom. Passing the turn back. Since we won game 1, I'm trying to take it very easy here. Not do anything unless I'm forced to. Our opponent casts into the fire on the Pactdoll Terror. Now they can attack in for 1, potentially Ninja. They do have a Ninja of the Deep Hours. They draw another card. So Ninja of the Deep Hours is a big threat. But will they replay the Augur? They cycle a Lorien. Grab in an island. Puts that in play. cut their deck and pass it back. My turn, I draw a card. Kind of difficult to organize everything here. Towers in one pile, mines and power plants in another pile. What are we going to do? 2 mana. Mirror Retriever, okay. 3 mana. Ashnod's Altar. That's resolving. Okay, so we can't really force the Relic at the moment. We play another Mirror Retriever. I mean, I could sacrifice 1 Mirror Retriever for the Mirror Retriever, then they sacrifice the Relic, and then I could Mirror Retriever back the Pactdoll, but that's not great, because then I'm only down to 1 Mirror Retriever left in the deck. I sacrifice the Candy Trail to draw a card. We'll filter through the Chromatic Star, drawing a card. Scatter Shot, killing the Ninja. I was trying to get them to Spell Stutter, I guess. And now I've got the board presence. Play an Expedition Map. Play an Expedition Map. Passing the turn. They Relic away the Scatter Shot. It's possible I cut on most of the combo. They play an Augur. That's the Augur that they picked up with the Ninja previously. And they whiffed entirely, which is good news for us. They pass the turn back. Crack the map. We'll just grab a tower here. Hidden Grotto. So the Surveil is pretty good if you don't have too many cards in hand. We also can Surveil and then draw into that card with the Candy Trail. But you don't want to Surveil and then crack the map and shuffle your deck. Draw for turn. Play the Grotto and Surveil. Put a land into the graveyard. So now cracking the map doesn't really matter. Let's draw with the Candy Trail. Play an Energy Refractor. Draw a card. The way that we beat this Relic is by finding the Blood Fountain and also not getting Spell Stuttered. We're playing and cracking multiple maps. Grab a tower. Because I already just surveilled away the card from the Grotto, that it doesn't really matter that we shuffled the deck. They Relic away a map. We're passing the turn back and getting the shuffle. If we ended up casting a Deadly Dispute, we'd have to finish the shuffle before we did any actions. All right, our opponent gives us back our deck. Plays another Augur of Bolas. Finding, I don't know what. Maybe Cast into the Fire, or a Lightning Bolt, or a Scred. They pass the turn back. So now I think at this point I've recognized that if I just don't lose the game, I win the match since we're 1-0. Play another tower. And I pass the turn. They cycle in Ash Barrens, finding a mountain, and Relic away a map. Their turn. Starting to move pretty quick over there, although I am in 1.5 speed. Playing a land. Very many, tons and tons of lands in play. They pass the turn back. I draw for turn. I'll play a tower. I think I can afford to take my time. They had the Scred specifically. I guess I asked them what the Augur was, and they revealed it again. I pass the turn to them. They pass it back after drawing for turn. I'll draw a card. Play a power plant or mine. Looks to be a mine. Tapping 4 mana. The Deadly Dispute. Looks like that resolves. Sacrificing the Energy Refractor. That draws just 2 cards, but extra Energy Refractors in play are good targets for those kinds of effects. Play Pactdoll Terror. Any counterspell. They counterspell the Pactdoll Terror. So there's potentially 2 left in the deck. Play another Pactdoll Terror. Do you have a counterspell? Looks like they do not. So now I have the loop in play. We play the Blood Fountain. They cast into the fire on the Pactdoll Terror. I sacrifice it to make 2 mana. And now at this point, I can like just go for the Blood Fountain potentially. So we're at a spot where I think I could win through their interaction, but we're going to just continue to take it easy, holding up a lot of mana in case they crack the Relic and we can Blood Fountain things back. Seems like they don't have a Spell Stutter Sprite in hand because they would have used that on the Blood Fountain. I'll play a Candy Trail using the floating mana. Full top and draw off the Candy Trail. Play an Energy Refractor, draw a card. Going to ship it back. Looks like our opponent's going to Scred a Mirror Retriever. So I sacrifice the Mirror Retriever targeting the Pactdoll Terror. And then they Lightning Bolt the other Mirror Retriever. So I sacrifice the Mirror Retriever, targeting the same Pactdoll Terror. They crack the Relic. We use the Blood Fountain to return Retriever and Pactdoll Terror. Now this is exiled. They were under some time pressure there for sure. I think that was all on our end step. And we double snuff out their creatures in order to make sure they can't ninja in. I don't know, maybe I should have done that like with the relic on the stack. It doesn't really matter because they're not getting stuff back from their graveyard. They play a Moon Circuit Hacker. Okay. And odd draw for turn. Play the Pactdoll. It resolves. And they say GG. So we were able to take the match down. Currently 2-1. All right, so this is the beginning of round 4. I don't know who's on the play. I should probably have captured those. Like our opponent is playing blue-red as well. Going to mulligan. Let's see if we keep the 7. I mean 6. All right, one card goes to the bottom. Lead on an expedition map. Pass the turn. It's a strong start, assuming we have another Tron land. Our opponent plays Island Pass, representing Spell Pierce. We just go ahead and fetch out the tower. And then I'll pass the turn. Just shuffling on the way. Our opponent, I can see multiple Spell Pierces in their hand, so having Tron online quickly is very important. They play an Island and a Ponder. Brainstorm, Breath Weapon, something else. Looks like they're going for the shuffle. Okay, Ponder resolves. They draw a Scred, it looks like. They pass it back. We'll go for a Chromatic Star. That resolves. Ichor Wellspring. That resolves. So we're set up to do a Deadly Dispute. Sacrifice for black and draw a card. And Deadly Dispute. Our opponent will Spell Pierce. I'll pay. No big deal. We draw the 3 cards. Make a treasure token. That's probably going to be it for this turn. Okay. Opponent draws. Don't see a Monarch in their hand. Lots of removal spells and interaction. They play a Mountain. And send it back. I'll draw. So I don't know if they're fairies at this time. Spell Pierce kind of indicates that they aren't. Tap the tower and play a map. They have no response. We'll sacrifice the map. Let's see what we get. One option would be to get the Surveil land to turn on my colors. If I already have the Energy Refractor in hand, we grab the tower. So I do get the tower, kind of indicating that I have an Energy Refractor in hand here. Refractor. Okay. Play a Candy Trail. We'll scry. Top and bottom. Try a Mirror Retriever. Take that resolved. 2 mana here. Playing a Chromatic Star. That resolves. So I have 1 mana floating, I believe. We pass the turn back. Our opponent plays another island and passes. We will draw off the Candy Trail. Untap. We'll get in for 1. We go to 19. 3 mana for Expedition Map and crack the Expedition Map. Getting the Hidden Grotto this time. So definitely no Refractors in hand. I've had a lot of stars to use though. Play the Hidden Grotto, so Surveil. And we keep it on top. We can draw into it off of the Chromatic Star potentially. So we crack the Chromatic Star to draw that card. 4 mana. Play the Ichor Wellspring. They Spell Pierce the Ichor Wellspring. We'll pay. They're trying to get value out of their Spell Pierces. It's just that the Tron lands are really not letting that happen. There's the Energy Refractor. I do still have mana to pay for Spell Pierce. We draw a card off the Energy Refractor. And then I Viscer's Insight the Ichor Wellspring to draw 3. So no Counterspell, no Spell Pierce. Potentially even have so many cards. Yeah, we do have to discard to hand size. Sending the turn back. Our opponent plays a Seething Landscape. One reason I really like to play the Altar Tron deck is it doesn't really have any issues with removal spell decks. Okay, they send it back. Still not really accomplishing or doing anything. No terrors in their hand. We play a Mine. We've got 4 mana for a Mirror. The Foundry Inspector. This does turn on removal. Attempt to crop rotation the Grotto. They bolt the Foundry Inspector. So just as I was saying that we don't have any issues with removal, we Deadly Dispute the Foundry Inspector in response. So we will draw 2 cards, make a treasure token, and then crop rotation will resolve. Since I already have the Refractor in play, cropping for a tower is a good strategy here to increase the total mana. It's kind of like a +1 colorless. All right, cuts happen. We get in for 1, put them to 18. Nobody really has a clock right now. I'll Deadly Dispute the Mirror Retriever, likely getting back an Ichor Wellspring. I like to get back the Ichor Wellsprings just for the raw card draw power, but during the combo turn, usually I'll want to get back a Candy Trail because Candy Trail just lets you see more cards versus just have cards in hand. We attempt a Pactdoll Terror that resolves, play an Ichor Wellspring, drain them, and draw a card. We have just 1 mana available with the treasure token. Passing the turn over, our opponent double cycles Lorien Revealed. So I can see here that they're a terror deck, and it indicates to me that since they've done nothing, that they are a terror deck. While I'm in this match, can pretty much see that, but they just haven't drawn terrors. No Monarch, and then they fetch with the Seething Landscape. All right, they draw Breath Weapon, not very good here, but they have Scred if they want to take out the Pactdoll Terror. They Scred it. Okay, it's dead. Plays a land and passes a turn. All right, we have another Mine, 3 mana. Viscer's Insight to draw 3 cards. It's pretty crazy that we can just draw so many cards all the time. Let's play a Pactdoll Terror and drain them. They are now at 15, I think. Playing a Candy Trail. They scred the Pactdoll in response, so I will not be gaining life. But will Viscer's Insight the Pactdoll to draw 2 cards in response. Now I get to scry. I top that, it looks like. And now we're playing an Ichor Wellspring to draw a card. Just 2 mana available here. Little bit worried about Spell Pierce, so are we going to play into it? We discard to hand size. Opponent's turn. They play an island and pass. We draw off the Candy Trail on their end step. They have been very unlucky at drawing threats. Not a single threat to be seen. No Augur of Bolas, no Terrors, no Monarchs. We'll play a Foundry Inspector. Play an Ashnod's Altar. They lose focus on... Looks like they're just going to tap out to counter the Ashnod's Altar. Let's see if they replicate it. They full replicate. They're completely tapped out except for a red mana. And I let it die. I let it just go to the graveyard, have another Ashnod's Altar. And then what? Mirror Retriever. So there's a Mirror Retriever in the graveyard. That gives me infinite mana here. They scooped to that. I don't think that was necessarily the end of the turn. Didn't have a Blood Fountain to draw the deck, but they're good with it. So post board against Terror, we don't really need the crop rotations. We can cut those for things like Ancient Grudge for their potential relics, which I see relics there in their hand that they're bringing in. And we also can bring in something like Nile Spellbomb to just be a cantrip for the deck. We also could consider cutting the 3rd or the 4th Pactdoll Terrors because their clock is relatively slow. Just for more Nile Spellbombs to continue to cantrip through the deck a bit more. Okay, we're resolving mulligans. Our opponent keeps. Everybody's keeping. They go Island Relic. No problem. I'll play Candy Trail. Scry 2. And we top both and pass a turn back. There is a Terror in their hand this time. They ponder. I draw a card. No shuffle. Pass a turn back. I have to worry about a Spell Pierce. I pass a turn, planning on cracking the Candy Trail on their end step to put a card in the graveyard for the relic, and hoping to draw into the Tron lands. Let's see what happens. We draw a card. They relic it. Draw for turn. I attempt a Chromatic Star. That's good. Play land. Attempt a Wellspring. That resolves. They cast a Deuce. That draws a card and creates a clue. All right. Playing a Mountain here. 4 mana available. Murmuring Mystic. Sending it back. So now they've been tapped out and I could potentially just get Tron online. So here's a map. We cracked the map right away. Getting the power plant. Murmuring Mystic can definitely present a clock. I don't know if it's going to be fast enough, but it can be an issue. All right. Thinking about what to do with this 2 mana from the power plant. Potentially Deadly Disputing. We sacrifice. Deadly Dispute. Draw 3 cards. Play a Candy Trail with the mana from the treasure and put on top. Do I have to discard to hand size? We discard a Swamp. Their relic, getting rid of a Deadly Dispute. Plays a Volatile Fjord. So we have to be worried about the birds. They're getting in for 1. They can just start bolting, slinging a ton of spells to try to make sure that we can't resolve things and that they represent a clock. Our turn. I'll try an Energy Refractor. I think I see an Annul in their hand. Do they let it go? They let it go. We draw a card. If I were them, I think I would have countered that if I could. An Expedition map and sacrifice it. They're annulling the Expedition map. I don't really... Yeah, I think that they just might have not seen that the Energy Refractor could be pretty good for me. They counterspell the Foundry Inspector. They're getting lots of birds. Currently, they have 3 power in play. I'll play a Mirror Retriever. That's good. Play Deadly Dispute, sacrificing Mirror Retriever. We will return the Wellspring. They sacrifice the Relic. So Deadly Dispute goes to the graveyard. Mirror Retriever is gone. We make a treasure. So in this deck, sometimes you want to just force the Relic. By making them Relic there, they have no way of playing the Terror from their hand. They get in for 3. And here's an Azurfleet Admiral. Leaving open Spell Pierce, Annul, Lightning Bolt, Scred, all those good things. They pass the turn back and draw for Monarch. I'll play out another Power Plant. 4 mana. Play Chromatic Star, Viscer's Insight, Chromatic Star, draw 3 cards. 4 mana. Play a Pactdoll Terror. That drains them and sets me up to not necessarily die that soon. Play a Nile Spellbomb. Like I said, I brought those in for just cantripping purposes. And play an Ashnod's Altar. Okay. If I have a Mirror Retriever, they bolt face in order to present a clock, adding another bird. All right, our opponent's untapping, draw for turn. They drew an island, it looks like. They cast into the fire on the Pactdoll. So we sacrifice the Pactdoll to the Ashnod's Altar and then sacrifice the sacrifice the Candy Trail to draw 3 cards. Draw 1 card and gain 3 life. I'm getting all flustered just watching these Paper Magic games. They're getting in, that's 7 damage. They draw off the Monarch. My turn. Seems they have Counterspell mana available. We'll pay 5 mana. Play another Pactdoll Terror. They deduce, trying to draw into a counterspell, making a bird, and that's good. Okay. So do we have the 2 retrievers? There's 1 retriever that will drain them. Sacrifice the Mirror Retriever. So we get back a Pactdoll Terror and play the Pactdoll Terror. So now every artifact drains 2, which is very strong. Our opponent's now at 15 life, it looks like, or 14. We're going to exile their graveyard and draw a card. Looking for the last Mirror Retriever. Did not find it. We pass the turn. Our opponent's going to brainstorm on end step. Trying to find a way to get rid of the Terrors or the Ashnod's Altar, but also just adding birds to the table. Trying to increase the clock. They have 6 birds plus the Monarch. They've been drawing so many cards, but the Monarch, I don't know. It seems to be not that good in the face of so many Ancestral recalls. They get in for 6 in the air. Okay. Playing a Ponder. Or birds. So 2 lands and a Brainstorm, not great. They choose to shuffle. They could have taken the Brainstorm, and then if they had a Lorien, they could have shuffled and then Brainstormed again. I'm not the best with the Brainstorm cantrips, that's for sure. Okay. What is the plan? I don't see any removal spells in their hand. I think they're going to Brainstorm most likely just to look for more things to do. They decide to crack a clue. Draw a card. Another land. Somewhat unfortunate. They draw off the Monarch and pass the turn. All I need is a Mirror Retriever. We'll play 3 mana for Foundry Inspector. They're brainstorming in response. Making another bird. No counterspell. So what will they put back? Puts back 2 cards. And that resolves. So it drains them 2. We will go for another Ashnod's Altar for more draining. Visitors Insight the Ashnod's Altar. We don't need that second copy. Draw 2 cards. Attempt to... Okay, Wellspring. More draining. Drawing cards. And the Mirror Retriever. So I think that is it. We sacrifice Mirror Retriever. We return Mirror Retriever. GG. We are 3-1. We'll see you in round 5. Well, actually, I should note how that happened. So round 5, I played against Jund Wildfire. We ended up 2-0ing them. In game 1, It looked like, are they on Wildfire or are they on Glee? They played some of the very similar cards, but as soon as we saw refurbished familiars, we knew it was actually Jund Wildfire, and I was eventually able to just combo them. In game 2, my opponent played a very interesting card called Night Soil, which I hadn't seen before. So Night Soil says, exile 2 creature cards from a single graveyard, put a 1/1 green sapperling creature token onto the battlefield. So apparently the way that this works is exiling those creature cards is part of the cost of the activation. So there's no way to respond to it and like use my Blood Fountain to get back the Mirror Retrievers or whatever. So in this specific game, basically I just kept drawing cards, putting more and more Pactdolls in play, and then draining them out, eventually just winning the game that way. Unfortunately, the recording was lost and I was not able to get it. So we ended up at this point being 4-1. In round 6, I was paired against Paige Smith, I had actually talked to just before this round and asked them if they were playing their classic elves because they're known to be an elves player. They gave me the sly, oh, we'll see. Now, they won the die roll, so I kept a hand that had 2 Tron lands, working my way up to Tron pretty quickly. Our opponent led on Colony Garden, so now I get the, oh no. I lead on land and map or some artifact. Our opponent plays a swamp and leads on Basking Brood-Scale on turn 2. So that's pretty bad for me. I untap and play an Energy Refractor, and they untap and play another untapped land, go for the Sadistic Glee, adapt the Brood-Scale, and attack for infinite. So I got 2 turns in game 1. Post board, I take out a very large amount of my deck and bring in 4 Snuffouts, trying to interact with them as much as possible. The sideboard strategy for here with this specific list would be something like cutting a Crop Rotation, a Foundry Inspector, and a Pactdoll Terror, and 1 other card for 4 Snuffouts. So game 2, I have turn 3 Tron, so I'm excited about that. I play out my land drop, my map, I get my Tron lands. They have, once again, on turn 2, Basking Brood-Scale, so I know that I'm probably going to die. On turn 3, I play out my Mirror Retriever, and they go Sadistically adapt, attack you for infinite. I block with my Mirror Retriever and get back an artifact, and then on my turn, I'm very close to dying. I play out a swamp, draw tons of cards. I'm Deadly Disputing, Eviscerer's Inciting, trying to draw into my Snuff-Out. With very, very little mana floating, I cast my last Eviscerer's Insight to completely tap out, draw into the Snuff-Out, finally find it, and kill that turn 2 Basking Brood-Scale dead. Now what does my opponent do? They untap, they go Basking Brood-Scale, Sadistically adapt. So I didn't have very much of an option. I face down the combo on turn 3 and turn 4. As this game progressed, I continued to draw into creatures, but not enough to actually accomplish anything. I'm putting Krark-Clan Shamans on the table. I'm putting more Mirror Retrievers, some Pactdoll Terrors on the table, but they continue attacking with their infinite, eventually drawing a second Writhing Chrysalis to present 2 infinitely sized creatures, plus they have Shambling Gas in play, which means that my Mirror Retrievers could easily be killed if they draw any number of their Deadly Dispute or Eviscerer's Insights, which is pretty scary. But unfortunately for me, they did not, well, fortunately and unfortunately, right? They didn't draw any of these cards, but they drew a Malevolent Rumble, and then they rumbled into one of their 2 Troublemaker Oofs. While I had only 2 blockers in play, they Troublemaker Oofed one of my blockers and attacked for infinite. So it was GG. Paige Smith ended up going 5-1, then taking the draw in round 7 to make top 8. So here I am, going into the last round, currently 4-2. So there was some hope for me that maybe if the breakers went my way that I could actually get into top 8 with 5-2. So we're doing our best to play out this round. Our opponent goes Mountain and Clockwork Percussionist. We're up against Mono Red again. And after having not done very well versus Mono Red in the first round, I was pretty afraid. We lead on a Candy Trail, which is a lot better than that round 2 where I had no life gain. And I scry top and bottom. Our opponent untaps, plays a Mountain, Synthesizer, flipping a lightning bolt, and they bolt face. That's actually kind of good for me here because the lightning bolt means that they're not putting a creature on the table, which would probably be doing even more damage over the course of the turns than the lightning bolt does there. They get in for 1. I'm at like 15 now. I untap. I'll gain 3 and draw a card. We'll go back to 18. Our opponent plays a Mountain and Tomb Raider, which is 3 power on the table. Getting in for 3. Back to 15. My turn. They had no other plays, which is very good for me for sure. Could be flooded over there. I play a Mirror Retriever. Mirror Retriever can block and kill the Clockwork and then get back the Candy Trail. Our opponent pays 3 mana to sacrifice the Synthesizer. So their hand is ending up being relatively clunky here. Really what I needed to see. They play a Mountain and get this Voldaren Epicure on the table that was revealed to the Synthesizer. Losing a bunch of life. That puts me, I think, 14. Getting in for 3. Let's see how I block. I block the 1/1. They reveal card off the top of their deck, revealing Kuldotha Rebirth. And I return the Candy Trail. Is this Tron? It looks like I have Tron online. Got a little bit lucky. Play a Pactdoll Terror. That drains them. 4 mana. We'll play Foundry Inspector. Drain them again. Now my Candy Trail costs 0. We'll play the Candy Trail for 0. Drain them again. So we are pretty much recovering here from the fast aggro start. Mostly because our opponent did not have that Kuldotha Bushwhacker in the early turns. Plus the 700 Galvanic Blasts. And we'll play Energy Refractor. That's using all my mana. Draining again, we draw a card. Our opponent untaps. They've got 2 2/2s and a 1/1. At this point, I'm not sure that I would even want to block with the Pactdoll Terror. They Lightning Bolt the Pactdoll Terror and then end the festivities. So that kills the Terror. That also makes it so that I can't block anything with the Foundry Inspector without killing it. They play another Epicure, ping me. Looks like we're at 14. They've got 5 power, and then they Kuldotha Rebirth. They're tapped out now. I think it's better for me to not block and take it and hope to have a really powerful turn next turn. They're attacking for 5. Okay. We're at 9. We draw. Energy, or that's an Ichor Wellspring, draw a card. Deadly Dispute the Wellspring, draw 3 cards. So currently, if I find a Mirror Retriever and Altar, I would have infinite mana. Play a Tower for turn. Candy Trail. 0 mana Candy Trail is pretty good. We're bottoming, trying to look for the combo. I have no Weather Storms in the deck. Another Candy Trail. Also quite good. We're considering these cards. 1 top and 1 bottom. Gain 3, draw a card. Puts me to 12, I believe. Definitely would be nice to have some large life on screen, but you know, this is my first time recording in paper, so we have some issues. Finding another Pactdoll Terror. Wow, okay. You can see all the triggers being written down. 3 mana. We draw and gain 3 life. Quickly recovering that life gain, but oh, here's a Ashnod's Altar. Do I have the Mirror Retriever? No. Okay, so if something goes wrong, we can sacrifice a creature and then gain 3 life off the Candy Trail. But really hoping to get there. They rummage, discarding a land. No Bushwhacker. Our opponent taps the land and Lightning Bolt on the Foundry Inspector, so I sacrifice it and then sacrifice the Candy Trail, gaining 3 life. They have 1 card in hand. They're attacking for all of the marbles. Let's see. 5, 9 damage. So I decide to, what, not block? Okay. We're relying on that Pactdoll Terror. Can it get the job done? Play another land. 3 mana. Chromatic Star, drain you. Do we have a Deadly Dispute effect? We do. So that's a draw 3, plus creating a treasure which drains them some more. Drain you. Okay. What is next? It's possible that our opponent's last card in hand is just a mountain because they're not really doing anything. We play the Hidden Grotto, Surveil. Looks like I keep that on top. 3 mana. Play a Candy Trail. Drain you. 2 mana left over. So if I had seen a Mirror Retriever there, then I can sacrifice this, get the Mirror Retriever, tap my other mana, and start the loop. Let's see what it is. Okay, so what I did there was I knew the card that was on top with the grotto, so I played the Caney Trail, responded to the scry trigger by sacrificing it to draw a card, and now I'm resolving the scry trigger. So we will top bottom, play a Chromatic Star and drain, draw the card that I saw on top, making a black, and an Energy Refractor, draw a card, drain you again. Just the Pactdoll is doing so much work here. Viscer's Insight. We have 3 mana, 4 mana with the treasure. Where's the Mirror Retriever, huh? It's hiding. I'm thinking it through. I don't know what the deal is. Play out a Foundry Inspector. Or draining. Play an Expedition Map to drain. Sacrifice the treasure. Crop rotation. Turning that into a tower. So now I'm back to having 3 colorless in play. That does mess up all the scries that I had done previously, but maybe I have a way to draw a card. The other thing is, like, just getting some triggers is pretty good. We're still just hoping they don't draw into a Bushwhacker. 3 mana. In Eviscerator's Insight, the Expedition Map. Draw 2. Sacrifice the Foundry Inspector. It looks like we found the Mirror Retriever, and that is the loop. So we're demonstrating the life training back and forth, zoop-doop, and we take game 1. Our opponent had a lightning bolt. They were trying to just find a way to close the game, but because I was not blocking with the Pactdoll Terror, they were not able to take it off the table. All right, so sideboarding-wise, I'm bringing in as many Weather Storms as possible, and also the Krark-Clan Shamans to clear the board. Usually I'm taking away all of the Foundry Inspectors and the Ashnod's Altars for those 5 cards here. Our opponent keeps 7, and we immediately mulligan. When you're facing Kuldotha Burn with this deck, you want to be having a hand that has fast Tron, or fast board wipes, or fast Weather Storm. If it doesn't have any of those things, you really can't afford to do any dirtling. Okay, let's see what we see. Can I keep a 6? Another mulligan. Wow. That's not great. So when you're mulliganing low in these kinds of decks, this is where Deadly Dispute is extremely powerful. Some mana, a Deadly Dispute, you're going to be drawing back up to 8 cards in no time. We put 2 cards on the bottom, we're keeping 5. Our opponent plays a Vault of Whispers and just puts a 1/1 Bushwhacker into play. All right, usually an opponent will do that if they have like 3 or 4 Bushwhackers. We start on Caney Trail, Scry, and bottom 2. Our opponent untaps. Synthesizer. Okay. They reveal a Tomb Raider. So they should have land Tomb Raider here. They play land, they play the Tomb Raider. They will go ahead and attack for 3. I'll play Expedition Map and pass. So I had kept a 1-lander. Guess that's what you have to do on 5. I don't know if I'm going to survive this one. Bushwhacker. 7 damage coming in. We play a Caney Trail. And scoop. That's what I expected. Did not go very well there. So now I'm on the play. Being on the play, very, very important. Especially in game 3. Okay, we keep, they keep. We'll go land map. Kind of indicating I'm going to have turn 3 Tron, but we'll see. They lead on Great Furnace and Gorilla Shaman. Unfortunately, at this point, we realize that our opponent has not understood how the Gorilla Shaman works. They thought that my lands were artifact lands. So they immediately tap 2 to blow up the 2 Tron lands, but I have to explain that they're actually not artifact lands. So definitely a bummer for the opponent. These are both power plants, so I needed to draw a mine or a tower in order to close out Tron with the Expedition Map. So they can't do that. They play a Lackey, getting in for 2. We'll go to 18. And then they Kuldotha Rebirth, sacrificing their land. They currently have 5 power on the table. We sacrifice for a mine, and then play a Caney Trail. It doesn't look very good right now. If they have a Bushwhacker, we're in a really bad spot. Looks like top bottom for me. They untap. They've got to have more lands, right? Maybe they're... Okay, there's 2 lands. Cast into the fire the Caney Trail. Get in for 5. We play a Pactdoll Terror from hand, hoping that this will stem the tide. Just draining 1. Need Tron online. It's not looking very good. They play a Clockwork, attack for 6. So the question is, do I block? I block the Gorilla Shaman. Okay, that goes to the graveyard. They lightning bolt my Pactdoll. We draw. Any towers? 4 mana. Play another Pactdoll. Okay. That's not very good. This is just like, I can't even believe I'm still alive right now. They're getting in, we block. We'll take 4. I don't know what the life totals are, but they're not very high. Our opponent has no follow-up, and they did not kill the Pactdoll. Must have only lands in play. We play an Ichor Wellspring and draw a card. And a Drain. Certainly getting pretty lucky here. 3 mana. Play Weatherstorm. So I'm just gaining 6 life. Plus that 1 from the Ichor Wellspring. They play a Great Furnace. Get in for 3. We will block a Kuldotha token. Then they sacrifice the Lackey to draw a card. So I think maybe they should have attacked with everything if that was the case. Then they could just sacrifice the Lackey there. We're untapping. Play Candy Trail, Scry, and Drain. The opponent floundering while we continue to just not really accomplish anything, but I'm still alive. I believe I bottomed both. Well, Viscer's Insight the Wellspring. Draw 3 cards. Any towers. Any towers. Looking for a tower. Okay, that's another power plant. We play an Expedition map. And drain you. Here, so we're going to sacrifice the Candy Trail to gain 3 and draw a card. That makes sense. Just trying to maximize the life total. Our opponent untaps. They've got 3 power in play. Judge Call. They accidentally saw 2 cards. But I think we just shuffled the deck again, just like the previous round. Yeah, there's the deck shuffling. No big deal. We pass it back. All good. Everything's fixed. They play a Synthesizer. Reveal a Tomb Raider. Play the Tomb Raider. Now they have 5 power in play again. They're getting in for 5. Looks like I'm just taking it. We are going to crack the Expedition map on upkeep for the tower. It makes me slightly less likely to draw a land. We send it over to the opponent. They cut. Draw. There's the tower. We play a Wellspring and draw a card and drain you. Now I have so much mana in play. Play another Pactdoll Terror. Now I can run away with the game. Having Tron online is such an important part of this deck. Play an Energy Refractor, that's 2 more drain. Another Energy Refractor to drain and draw cards. And we're passing it over. So, looking like we've stabilized and are starting to take control. Tormod's Crypt from the opponent, and they sacrifice it, getting rid of my graveyard. They sacrifice their Synthesizer, making a Night token, and then they will reveal a card from their deck. Bushwhacker. So they do have 2 mana. They Bushwhacker, sending in everybody. But it looks like they're tapped out, so we're going to just block, I think. Let's find out. A lot of counting going on, trying to count up the damage. When you can't see all the damage, it's harder. So we block the 2/3/2s. Hoping they don't have an End the Festivities, essentially. We take 8 damage. But I had gained that much just from the Pactdolls. They play a land, so is there an End the Festivities? There is not. We play a Wellspring and drain you 2. Chromatic Star, drain you 2. Yeah, that's just adding up a ton. We attack for 6. That is the game. So I ended up 5-2 over the course of the entire event. So after that entire event, 5-2, we ended up in 9th place because no person that did not draw in was able to make it. I was the top of the 5-2s, but did not make it to the top. So it was a really awesome event. I want to say thank you again to Mitch for organizing it. Thank you to the K2 Brewing Company for allowing us to take that space and use it. Thanks to everybody for coming. And there will be another one sometime in mid to late July. So look out for that. I'll be probably promoting it on the channel, probably going. And if you're interested in playing the Altar Tron deck with Pactdoll Terror, this is an adjustment to my list and something that I've been trying to work on. I have been taking a lot of time trying to figure out where I want to be. First of all, I know I need 2 Weather Storms in the main deck just because we got run over by mono red. So we can play 4 Candy Trail, 2 Weather, and 3 Pactdoll Terrors. We could potentially play the 3 Foundry Inspectors, but what I've just been working on is Golem Foundry tokens do a great job of blocking fairies as well as terrors. So I think I want to go for 2 Altar and 2 Golem Foundries. Here, I'm looking at attempting to split the 2 Eviscerers and the 4 Eviscerers Insight into 2 and 2 Grim Search, simply because Grim Search draws deep into your deck. Basically because of the look at the top 4, put some of them back on top. So that's where I am. The 2 Weather Storms in the main deck also allow you to have 2 more life gain in the sideboard. Here I'm going for Fangered Marauder, because with that in play, we can get out of the range of something like Bogles. Where Weatherstorm might be a little bit more difficult to do that. Still playing the 4 Snuff Outs, 3 Karkland Shaman, 2 Scatter, 1 Ancient Grudge, and 3 Spell Bombs. So I'm really interested to know, if you made it all the way to the end, what you thought about the video. Was it confusing? Was it worth doing? Should I be doing this more often? Really appreciate everyone for checking out the channel, and really appreciate everyone that went to the event once again. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.